See if that
porn
sinks
music.
in. Hey, fun fact, I made this beat.
Oh.
You can't hear it now, but in post you'll hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that was sweet.
Silent music. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jerezy back in the cave, and I'm here with Proper. Before we begin, the podcast is brought to you by SafeLightCandle.com. Get your LED light fixtures for the low on the website SafeLight.com, and also Cave.com. Get some merch, read our blogs, and stay current with what's going on inside the cave. That's K4V3.com. And now we got Daniel or DJ from Three Strange Facts on the Cave podcast. We're going to get weird. We're going to get strange over here. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? I appreciate y'all having me on. Thank y'all so much, man.
Thanks for coming. Before we got started, I mean, he's wearing the Dogecoin shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know Jermaine's all about Doge. So let's
Crypto.
Let's get to it. What are we talking about, Doge, man?
Oh, hell yeah.
You've been in it since 2014. So you were really about
it. So back then, I met this dude and he was like, he said something along the lines of, well, Bitcoin's at $500 now, so it's way too expensive, but you can always buy Doge. And I was like, we were both like, if I could go back now, right, and buy freaking Bitcoin for $500, that'd be awesome. But Doge was still like 0.0003. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I was, went online. I had a computer that had 2 graphics cards on it. It was just a laptop, right? And I remember mining with it and getting like 1,000 Doge like every couple of minutes. So I started just pumping all of that into the original Doge freaking wallet, right? Mm-hmm. I still have all that. The main reason I have all that is because I forgot what the password was. I got like 30,000 Doge. Oh, no. From 2014 that I can't do anything with. I literally learned how to hack wallets just so I could hack my own wallet, right? And never got into it. Like I still don't. I have it still. I have the wallet. I've got I got a picture that I found that has a password that I swore was it, but it wasn't it. I was like, man, I don't know what else I could do to try and get into that wallet, but I still got them. I was thinking about making an NFT of that wallet and selling it, right? But it didn't pan out.
It sucks because you hear that story a lot about people losing their crypto wallet passwords, like the guy who has like 1,500 Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine how he feels. And he's on to one last try until if he fails that, everything's gone. And it's
That's crazy.
I can't imagine being under that stress, but yeah, crypto, I'm a believer. I feel like we're going to go in that direction. Cash, you go to places and it all says cashless now, and there, you kind of see these more coins coming out. Like I'm on Pepe too, just for the fun of it, just because it's funny. But I'm not even.
What's Pepe at right now?
Pepe is. It's down right now from where I came in at least.
Shout out Pepe.
It's all speculation. Really, I mean, I tell people crypto speculation. Bitcoin is the main key, but I feel people are doubting Doge still because of the fact that it's a joke. But I tell people don't like Elon Musk for whatever reason, and I don't care. But the guy who invented PayPal and stuff is backing this coin, so there's Dogecoin gang, yeah. So. I got a pretty good size holding it, and if you join our Discord, I've posted my earnings in there.
There you go.
But I'm not going to disclose how much I have. But
no,
Doge is. I feel like there's something cooking with it. There's no way that it was just going to pump to 75 cents and collapse, and that's the end of it for all of crypto. I believe, though.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to 3. Good.
I always thought Ripple was the sleeper of the cryptos. What's going on with that right now? Wasn't there like a ban on Ripple for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean they just won their court case. Yeah, I mean pretty much. There's still some legality issues going on.
There's appeals going on, and I just think it's a lot of those insiders. The suits trying to get in before they have to pay. It's all scaring us. They're tanking the price so they don't have to pay the thousands of dollars that Bitcoin is, or they don't want to pay 75 cents for Dogecoin. So it's all pretty much scaring us to sell so they can buy our shit at a low price. And then when they start accepting it, we're going to buy back in at a higher price. But, veteran holders know, nah, you hold or hodl.
Gotta hodl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, XRP, I see that going at least $12 probably this next bull run, like honestly. And that's like my conservative estimate. I mean, it could vary, like, again, I'm a moonshot guy, so going to 100 possibly, probably not, but it could. I mean, I definitely see Doge at $3, I mean, it's definitely going to go over 75 cent because that's what it was
It's going
the
to hit
last
$1
time
eventually.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that it's going to go to $1, but at the same time, we're going to see a pretty substantial drop before our next bull run. All you got to do is look at what do they call it, the rainbow chart. I mean, the rainbow chart pretty much maps it out. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So when it hits $1, you're going to see me in a cave wrapped Lamborghini.
Oh shit.
So I just need that $1 to hit, and then hopefully for you too. We all the Dogecoin people. So Dogecoin to the moon, Doge Army. Yeah, that's for Twitter. Clip that for Twitter.
Or X
I made
now,
a-
bro. It's X now.
whatever.
yeah, I made
Gonna
a
accept Doge.
I made a Doge video. I didn't put it on my main TikTok. I did put it on my second channel, but it is on my YouTube. It's like, I don't know. It was such a labor of love. I spent years trying to make it and then kind of gave up on it for a while. And then finally my wife was like, why don't you go back and finish that thing? And right when I got back into it, I was like, why didn't I do this, from the very beginning? I learned so much about editing just from that video that I started to do beginning of 2019, 2018, somewhere around there. But yeah, I like that one a lot, but it got like the lowest views. I don't know if YouTube just hates Doge or what, but it probably is,
YouTube just hates on everything, man. So
pretty
Well,
much.
Not as much as TikTok does. I feel like TikTok is the hood, man.
It's weird.
If you post on X, I feel like you get a lot of engagement because the Doge Army on X is crazy.
There is. It's weird. I put it on there and I tagged Elon and, because I have him in it. I called him the Doge Father because I was like, and then enter the Doge Father. It was all, artsy.
Yeah,
But
there's money involved in it. I mean, I'm in Cardano too, but Cardano kind of fucked up right now, so it sucks. But yeah, future in crypto, everyone.
Oh, most definitely.
Advice. What are your guys' major holdings? Good question.
Right now,
A major holding right now is definitely Dogecoin,
cash.
followed by
yeah,
Ethereum.
cash.
After Ethereum, I have Cardano. So my top 3 holdings: Doge, Ethereum, Cardano.
Yeah, I'm XRP. That's probably my top right now because I sold out when Bitcoin was like 40,000. I sold at the top and then went, okay, I'm going to rebuy, and then sold and then rebought and then sold. And I was like, all right, I'm just out for a little while. You know what I mean? Because like, I think it was like 2018, somewhere around there. I went in like $2,000. And remember, Bitcoin was like, shit, what was it? Like 3,000 at that point? No. It was like
You're talking about 2018?
Yeah, right around there. I think it was like 8,000 to 9,000, something like that. I put $2,000 in, and then within a matter of like half a year, I was at like 32,000, and I was like, okay. So I just kept trading. I kept flipping and flipping. I was doing this thing where I went on to a site called Coin Sniper, and it shows you every coin that is newly listed. And I was just like, all right, $20 and everything that was on there. And then that's how I got like into Filecoin and just pretty much everything that was popping up. That's how I got, a couple billion baby Doge. You know what I mean? It's still not doing anything yet, but
yeah,
I like those deflationary coins because all you have to do is hold and boom, you just get more and more and more,
Yeah, those are kind of just like your quick pump and dump. You know, they don't like to call it those terms, but that's what they are. That's what they really are. And people try to, it's not a pump and dump. And then what happened with Pepe? It pumped and it dumped.
Like Safe Moon, you know?
Mm-hmm. Safe Moon was another one. I almost bid onto that one. And all of a sudden, it tanked. I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't go through all those unnecessary steps. Just
Oh my God, it was so difficult.
Yeah.
I put like 200 into it, and I'm at like $12 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. That was free money. That was out of that 32. You know what I mean? It was just spreading it out. So it is what you live and learn.
Yeah, my buddy was like, he saw how Pepe was mooning and people were making a ton of money. So I said, let's just invest what you're willing to lose. And the next couple of days, I was like, you lost it.
And it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Crypto.
Yeah, I was told always just pick a number to get in, pick a number to get out, and just fuck the noise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as mining goes, that's something that's been thrown around in the crypto community, and I mean, I'm not really too familiar with that. Can you explain how to mine? Like, is that something that everyone can do, or do you kind of have to be knowledgeable in tech and able to pull that off?
It's pretty easy. I mean, pretty much all you have to do is have the machine to do it, you know? I've got a couple Doge miners, basically. It's so when I was throwing around that 32K, you know what I mean? That basically I got for free. I spent, I think it was like $700 a piece on the mini Doge miners. And they were getting me like 30 Doge a piece. I bought 2 of them, right? And all you really do is you set up the machine, connect it to your internet, and then connect that to a mining pool. That mining pool takes like a penny fee a day, and you get, you know, your coins from it. But as the difficulty rises, you get less and less rewards for securing the network. And that's the main thing you're doing, is securing the network by, you know, completing the cryptographic algorithms. You know what I mean? Whatever that magic that happens inside the box. But really, it's just a bunch of computer chips that are turning electricity into Doge. I mean, for the most part. I know that's the dumbest way to explain it, but really that's all that's happening. You just have to weigh whether or not the electricity cost is going to outweigh the rewards that you get. And the way that I look at it is, I say it's never profitable that moment. It's always going to be profitable later. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when I mine, I look at what the future price is going to be. Now, if you go like, if you have, you know, hundreds of machines, you have to turn a profit right then. And so you have to have the newest machines that are out there. But right now, don't get a mini Doge miner, because you're only going to get 3 Doge a day, and you're going to spend $250 in electricity cost per machine. That's the little, you know, just a little box. Right. And they're still like $400 a piece. So you'll never turn a profit on them unless you hold for, you know, a year, end of 2024, I think, somewhere around there is my prediction of, you know, next
bull run, 2025.
Yeah. 2025 into 2024, somewhere right there is, you know, that's what the rainbow chart says anyway, you know?
Yeah. So with what you're saying about the rainbow chart, where do you see Doge crashing to before the next bull run?
We may see a penny again. That's kind of what I'm betting on, because that's what I'm going to ape back in more. Yeah. You know, I mean, I still have my bag that I hold, right? Not that 20,000. That 20,000's gone. That's just, you know, that was my early mining lesson, I guess you could say. I've got more than that now. Just maybe, actually. I'm not going to say the number. I may have less than that. But I do have a substantial amount of Doge that I've bought since then. But I think we may see 2 cent. We may see a penny. We're probably going to see 9,000 Bitcoin. I was telling somebody the other day, 700-ish for Ethereum, somewhere around there, maybe 650. With Ethereum, though, I got in at like 250. I bought 4 of them at like 250. I've already sold those, so don't try and hack my wallet, viewers. But yeah, that was pretty substantial because I got out of that at like 4,000 somewhere around there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. See, at prices like that, people are going to say, "Oh no, it's over." But investors like us, like it's time to buy.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah,
that's
blood in the streets.
If it's a penny, I'm going to ape into that too. $700 for Ethereum. I'm going to ape into that, and then Bitcoin at $9,000. Maybe I'll buy one.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, if I could get a full coin, especially when it's going to go to like 350, probably this next one. 350K, somewhere around there. Again,
Got to buy one at 9K.
This is all speculation,
This is not financial advice.
I do see one up there. Yeah.
This is not financial advice.
Let's not.
Since we're talking about currency right now, I know there's a new. Is it called the BRICS? British, Russia, India, China, and is it South Africa, or I forget, South America? What is that a digital currency or is that an actual physical currency? Do you guys know?
Physical. I mean, it's not necessary. When you really think about, is the dollar? Yeah, we have physical dollars, but for the most part, it's all just numbers. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to. They did physically print a whole shit ton of dollars recently, but they don't necessarily have to, because most of it's like that is just interbank transactions where they're not actually pushing money from one bank to the other. It's all just numbers on a piece of paper. And so whether it's just on a piece of paper or on a digital ledger, it's pretty much just all made up money, like real estate. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so yeah, BRICS supposedly is a physical thing, but I bet you most of it's really just digital, but it's not a cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Even our own the Federal Reserve launched Fed Now.
Is that a digital coin?
Not necessarily. It's more like their version of Zelle. So where they can easily track where our money's going as if they're not already, but
hell yeah.
I feel like at some point that's going to translate into crypto as well. It's like I said, everything is going digital. There's no point in carrying cash anymore because everywhere is just. I've been to so many places like it's no cash. It's all contactless or your card or your Apple Pay, whatever. A lot of places are doing that, and it seems to be like just like restaurants are taking cash, and so the signs are all there. We don't know when, and for anyone that's holding, it's going to be a good future for you if you can wait it out. But right now we're in a long winter, as they call it.
The accumulation phase.
Exactly.
And just try and get everything you can right now, because even those like small cap, just shit coins, that's what we call them. They're all going to turn something. If you just spread out, hedge your bets, go wide on what you're trying to get, you'll do something. All it takes is that one coin to 1,000 times, and then every other loss is like nothing.
It really could happen like tomorrow too. It's fucking crazy.
It definitely could. That's the crazy. Elon Musk can just tweet tomorrow, X now accepting Dogecoin as payment, and you're just gonna see that shit rock.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's why I think I used to preach that Doge was done, but the fact that Elon is heavily repping Doge, and I'm hearing that X is kind of and he's kind of going towards like a paid membership now for X, right? Yeah, so I don't know. I think X is going to evolve into something that really incorporates cryptocurrency and is really going to be biased towards Doge. You know what I mean?
DJ, you can correct me, but isn't it the X? They got their license already for a crypto wallet. So
I did. Trading crypto. I did hear something like that.
So
they did it with PayPal. So, and that's his old baby.
That's right.
Exactly. And so on his profile, he has the Doge logo just chilling there, like very subtly. And people are right next to X, and everyone's like, oh shit, this is something.
Something's going to happen. Something's going to happen.
Yeah, something's going to happen eventually. And I'm telling people, well, it's not going to be just Doge. He's going to bring on Ethereum because he likes Ethereum.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure Vitalik is probably going to be in the X sphere somewhere as well.
Oh, they're all involved. They're all in on it somehow. It's all
well, like right now it's all the NFT boys, so it's just a matter of time till the
I still don't even have one. I'm so heavy into crypto.
That's good for you, man. I heard it was terrible.
It's terrible. A lot of people lost money. Justin Bieber spent how much on an NFT, and it's worth like $5 now. That's wild, man.
Shout out to people who just made bullshit NFTs though and made money off of it.
Right.
Those are the real NFTs.
I remember for a period you couldn't stop hearing of people talking about their fucking NFTs. Like, ooh, I got this NFT, and their profile picture was their fucking NFT. And now I wonder how they're doing.
Yeah. And then I just took a picture of it. You know what I mean? I took a screenshot.
You don't own that picture.
Yeah.
Well, I took a screenshot, so.
I see where the technology could lead into something, but we just because where did we expect this right here out of the internet when we were, friggin' what in like 1992? You know what I mean? Like
right.
This wasn't even in the realm of possibility. It was just, oh look, I can see boob, you know what I mean? Or I can go and get a doom map. That was like the pinnacle of the internet back then. And I remember when my mom, she was going to like community college and she was doing message boards, and that was it. You know what I mean? It was crazy because I was looking at like a Nirvana message board when I was like 8 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was
ran the internet.
It was crazy, and then it was AOL. You know what I mean? AOL was like chat rooms, the whole nine.
I miss AOL low key.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's something comforting about that logging in sound,
Yeah. And you've got mail, and you're just like, someone sent me something, and then you look, it's like hot singles want to meet me.
And you're like, oh, all right. I don't know enough not to click it. Yeah,
I'm 12, but I'm down.
Yeah,
it's one of those pop-ups where you click X on one and like 5 pop up, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta turn this shit off.
Yeah, my dad walks in. He's like, why is that pussy on your screen? I don't know.
Shit, that's funny. But hey, man, we can't ignore the guitars on the wall. Do you play the guitar? Or are you a guitar collector?
So my 14-year-old is like infinitely better than I am, but I like to,
that's awesome.
I like to mess around. So this one is the Fender Mustang Kurt edition. But they kind of messed up on it because Kurt had he had the Hot Lips pickup, and they didn't put it out on this one. And this is a right-hand version. He played the left-hand version. I keep looking backwards. All right, so this is a Taylor, which is as far as acoustics go, I say Taylors are like the top of the line. Now you can get a way more expensive, not mass-produced acoustic, but I like this one. I like that one a lot. That was my wife's, but it's mine now. Just throwing that out there. Now I have proof. So I'll just show her this and be like, yeah, I took it. Sorry.
What about just that one right there?
I've had that one for this is the one I've had since I was like 13 or something like that. It's just a Fender bass. They're okay. I've got more like around the room, but and a stack over there. Turntables over here. I'm in my band room. I literally tried to set this up in like several different areas, and like this is the only spot that I could do this without like looking like I was just like sweating and nasty. Look, it is so weird. Like I was sweating, not like literally sweating, but sweating this for like half the day trying to get this thing set up. I had it like we have a set where we do like Pokemon card openings for my son. Ooh. And I tried to do it there, but like the whole thing was just, I don't know, like this camera does not do well for that. And then I set up the GoPro as an actual webcam, but it only shot in widescreen. And then that just, lots of errors happened in the build up to this. Just saying.
I like that.
But yeah, so I play a little bit.
Little guitar shadow is pretty tight.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, I said I like your police line guitar
Oh yeah,
strap. It's pretty dope.
that was a gift from my mom, who is a cop or was.
Oh, nice.
You know, I'm kind of torn on that. I kind of fuck with her a lot about it, or used to when she was. You know what I mean?
I'm
It's
reaching for the dishes.
yeah, yeah. Don't shoot, hands up. You know, that sort of stuff all the time. She thought she could take me for the longest time, and she could. She did. I mean, just God, that training. I swear. You know,
Film the
just
police.
yeah,
Whenever she's pinning you down, film her.
right? Yeah.
My cousin used to play the guitar a lot, and I used to just pick it up sometimes and just play, you know. And the Taylor is something that was really highly acclaimed, and I actually heard it played. They played one song, and my aunt switched guitars to the Taylor and played another one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't even really need to be a music nerd to really hear the subtle differences in the quality of that. So, I mean, even as a casual, I know the authority of the Taylor.
That's cool.
But I mean, I just listen to songs and kind of try to play it by ear. Do you read tabs or you play by ear?
Tabs.
Do you have a favorite song you like to play, or what kind of music do you like playing?
I have forgotten more that I've learned how to play than I know how to play right now, if that makes sense. Like I've learned a lot of songs over the years, and I couldn't remember even a quarter of them at this point. Like, but I do like I play a lot of Sublime, if the you know, and a lot of stuff that I've made.
Okay. Awesome. So you're a musician as well. I mean, I heard the turntables and stuff. Are you DJ? I mean, DJ.
See, it's funny because I have a ton of records. I have analog turntables. So what I try to do is I just do beat matching, where it's like I take like a Tupac acapella and I try to put it to a Wu-Tang beat. You know what I mean? Because I just try to mix things up that don't necessarily mix, or weren't supposed to when they were originally written. You know, that's why like right now I am on a mashup kick like you wouldn't believe. Like one of my favorite things that I blast out of my Jeep right now is called Get Low, Alabama. It's like my favorite song right now, and it's the song Get Low mixed with Sweet Home Alabama. You know what I mean?
I was about to say. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is. It is just. It's top tier. I love it. There's another one that's DMX and AC/DC. That one's really good. And then what was the other one? There was another one I heard today that was so good. And I was like, it's just something about these mashups. I don't know what it is. I think it's more nostalgic for me because my kids don't feel them the same way. Like I'll play a song that's a mashup, right? And they're like not getting into it. And I'm like, these are two of the greatest songs. How can you not feel this? You know what I mean? They're like, I don't know the originals, you know? And then I go and feel old.
I think that's what it is. It's kind of repackaged and given to you in a new form, you know? But I love mashups too. That's why I really gravitated towards Linkin Park, you know? And when they released that collaboration with Jay-Z.
Yeah. Right.
I was off the hook. So that's cool, man. I play the piano, but just kind of like that's bullshitting cool. Play the piano. Like I don't know how to read notes, and I just kind of play by ear. But I'm a big fan of music, and I like to ask this question to a lot of music fans. If you could go to one concert, which concert would you go to? Last concert, by the way. This would be the last concert you go to.
So I only get one choice, right?
The next concert you go to is your last concert. Which one would you go to?
Living or
no? You could even bring them back from the dead. It's a fucking magic, that's what I was magic say. With a K concert.
It'd have to be Sublime then. I mean, just because that was such a big part of my early.
You're talking about OG Sublime, not Sublime.
Oh yeah,
Rome,
not
right?
not Rome. I mean, I like them ish. You know what I mean? Okay. It's just, but for me, it's just it's just not the same. You know what I mean? If it was its own thing, I'd be okay with it. It's not like I'm not okay with it. Like I'm nobody to them. You know what I mean? Like they could do whatever they want. And I appreciate the music that they're putting out. Like like times 10, but it's sublime with Rome. It's just, I don't know. Like, I liked Long Beach Dub All Stars better. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I agree with that one. I like
I mean, even the names were like different.
Right. Yeah. And that was the thing. I think that's why his wife had such an issue with it, you know? Because I think she actually tried to sue him because they used the name Sublime. But she was like, I love him to death. I hope, that this doesn't cause tension. It's just I'm trying to protect that name, She kind of pulled a Courtney Love type deal, but
right.
It is what it is.
I think for me, because I've always wanted to see him, and then we got blue balled with Coachella, and it didn't happen. So Rage Against the Machine,
man, that's awesome. I got to see him.
Yeah,
I got to see him at it was 2000. It was at a thing called HF Festival, and it was just like a radio station, and they threw this big festival, but it was at the Redskins Stadium, so it was like this big to do. I've got some pictures somewhere. It's like Zach De La Rocha sitting there with smoke around him. It was pretty cool.
Fuck yeah.
Like, you don't realize it at the time, what you're witnessing, because it was just like, oh, I'm seeing Rage. I love Rage. And then, I think it was the next year at the MTV Music Awards. That was it. They're done.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, shit.
Zach just left, and that's.
I saw STP at the same concert. It was pretty cool.
Nice. I actually crossed the Blink-182 off my bucket list already. I saw them
in
June, so that was dope. My girl got me tickets for Father's Day, surprised me. So I went over there and I met up with another host of ours, and it was great, man. Just listening to them live and just reliving songs we grew up to. So, but
what song was the most lit, bro?
Dude, I loved Aliens Exist live.
Oh shit! I feel like that song's more popular now than it was when it came out.
Hell yeah! That's why I wore my
right now.
I wore my little UFO T-shirt for Tom. I was like, "Fuck yeah, Tom's back." But other than Rage, I think I'd want to see a Michael Jackson show, because that would be a crazy fucking show, right?
Man, I really like Michael Jackson a lot more now than I did when he was alive. Just from seeing all of his interviews about, Sony fucking him over, and like the backdoor stuff that he was doing to buy all the rights to different musicians and stuff like that. He was smart as hell for that. And like, I didn't know any of that when it was just like, him and Macaulay Culkin doing freaking that one video. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. It was just like, I'm not really into pop, so I'm not, I didn't really dig on him, but man, I'm way more now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it'd be cool.
You're muted, Jero.
Silencing me, man. Speaking of Black and White, that's a mashup song too. There was some rap in that. And it's about mashup, like Black and White, so...
Double
entendre, baby.
It's funny when you get older that when you're younger, you're like, oh no, I don't want to see them. I don't care about them. And when you get older, you're like, kind of wish I just went to go see them.
Right?
You learn to appreciate things more, because like NSYNC is coming back, and my girl's like, want to go see him? I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go see him. Let's go see him.
Yeah.
I saw Backstreet Boys a few years ago. I was like, wow, these motherfuckers can still entertain. And then I saw BTS live. I was like, these guys are crazy. This is the craziest show I've ever seen. K-pop is a crazy scene.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'd choose fucking... Because I take into consideration I've seen a lot of rap shows already, like, and there is a difference in seeing just a regular show and seeing like a theatrical show, which I think Michael Jackson does. I think Kanye West does.
Kanye, definitely.
You can even argue that Travis Scott is starting to hit that kind of, you know what I mean, territory now, where it's more of an experience,
a life
overall,
sacrifice.
instead of just a concert where you just go sing songs type shit, like a spiritual ritual. But
speaking of like how,
I think Linkin Park for me would be mine,
dude,
especially with Chester.
I wanted to, and then because they were going to do a tour, and then he passed away, I was like, no way. I was down to finally go see him, and then same thing happened with Foo Fighters. I was waiting to go, and then their drummer passed away.
Oh shit,
that was rough. So, but yeah, I mean, there's so many concerts now that when you're older, I feel like you just want to go see it now, because you don't know when it's going to be the last.
Straight up,
you never know. You know what I mean?
You got to see them. Yeah, you got to see them right now.
with what pretty much every musician does. You know what I mean? Someone's gonna kick the bucket at any point. You know what I mean? It's just
also you want to go see them while their songs that they're playing are, you know, the songs that you like right now, because, you know, later down the line, if you wait 3-4 years and they have an album that's not really up to par with what you were like, and you go to that concert and it's just like they probably do an old song that you vibe with, and then the rest of the playlist is just like new shit they don't really
the new
like.
album,
kind of,
and you're like, it's like seeing Green Day play 21st Century Breakdown. You're like, I mean, where's Dookie? You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. Come on.
Right. No, I saw Green Day 3 times one year, and it was all in the same year, and it was like the exact same show each time, and it was cool. Don't get me wrong, I really appreciate the fact that I got to go and do that. But they did this thing, and I think somebody told me they went to one recently and they're still doing it, where they do a making of the band, where they're like, all right, who out here plays guitar? And then brings up somebody, and then, you know, who plays the drums, who plays the bass, and then gets them all to like play a song. And they did it like that same thing, that same year that I saw them. And I was like, you know, it's one of those things that they kind of have to get into a repetitive thing just to be able to like put on a show. You know, it's like seeing a comedian. You know, if you see them like back to back, you know, you're gonna go see him Friday and you're gonna go see him Saturday. It's gonna be the same set, right? But that's fine. You know what I mean? As long as you like the material, it's good.
Straight up. Well, we talked about Blink-182, and it's hard for me to pass up Blink-182 without bringing up Tom DeLonge and how it's crazy how we talked about that song. What's the title of that song? Aliens
Exist.
Aliens Exist. No one thought that he'd be the fucking face of
the guy,
of aliens now, right? And UFOs. What the fuck? And I mean, before we get to like the weird side, to the strange fact side, I mean, this whole month I've been wanting to get back into like conspiracy and rabbit hole stuff, but we agreed as a team to kind of keep it family friendly and G-rated. So, man, when October hits, I'm about to hit him with a fucking blitzkrieg of conspiracy shit.
Bring me back
Tom DeLonge, Tom DeLonge, UFOs. I know you have a channel on TikTok called Strange Facts. And you know what? You've been compared to, what's his face? Vsauce, which I'm a big fan of. How do you feel about that comparison, man? That's awesome.
I'll take it. He's probably younger than I am, honestly. Like, even with all the gray hair and everything, I don't mind it, man. He like Vsauce and the other guy, King of Random. Those are like my main two that I would view on YouTube. You know what I mean? So if somebody says that I act like him, or, you know, that they are reminded of him by me, I'll take it. I'll take it all day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Pretty big
As
compliment.
a fan, that's cool to see, because like I'm a fan of your page because I feel like your editing is on point, man. Keep doing what you're doing, and the Strange Facts, that's perfect, man. That's right up my alley. So I feel like I'm in your target audience.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that, and you have me on here. And I like your shit too, man. Honestly, it's pretty cool.
TikTok's weird, man. Like, I've learned to just embrace the hate in the comments from it, because it boosts the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
If you notice, because we post some pretty controversial conspiracy clips on TikTok, and people are like, what the fuck, this is bullshit. And, you know, I hit the like, but I'll want to comment back, but I had to tell myself, nah, you know, you have to come at this from a different perspective. So I'll just be like, hey, you heard it here first, baby. You know what I'm saying?
I'll usually be like, yeah, thanks for the comment, you know, or something along those lines. Every now and again, there was one person that said something that got me going, and then like I made a video that I like tagged his comment in it or something like that, and it was like about Christmas. I was just like, whatever, you know. It wasn't really like a thing on my part. It was just, you know, something fun to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? That's something I picked up too. So everybody who is trying to be a TikTok content creator, if you're getting hate comments, just use that as content, man. You can reply to those comments and prove them wrong, you know, or educate them. So I mean, a lot of people, especially if you're starting out, these hate comments. First of all, you did that. You said you started out with the Bitcoin or the Dogecoin video, and I kind of got you started in your momentum as far as content creating. And you put a lot of time and work and your energy into that, and it just didn't get the same, feedback that you were expecting. And it's kind of deflating, but it's even more deflating if the people that reacted are like, "What the fuck is this? This is some bullshit." You know what I mean?
How could you
don't ever breed?
Yeah, don't ever breed. Those are the best comments.
Yeah.
Like, do I kill my kids? What the fuck are you telling me to do? Don't breed anymore?
Oh,
all right.
It's so crazy. Okay, user 29356.
Yeah, with no fucking picture. You know what I mean? Like, all right, dude. Probably ugly.
Yeah, but you can just hit reply and then make content after that. But aliens, Tom DeLonge, is that something you've researched in your journey into strange facts?
Oh yeah. All right,
that might be an alien right there.
Yeah, let me just take a drink real quick because I grew up in a neighborhood. So this
about
lady
to get deep, y'all. He's taking a drink.
Here, look, let me show you a shot glass. All right, so anyways, it's Crystal Head.
Hey,
let me show you a shot glass.
Crystal alien head, like the Indiana Jones movie.
Well, supposedly that he based them. Dan Aykroyd made Crystal Head, and he based the bottle off of the Max, the Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm.
So this lady that lived in this neighborhood, right? Me and her son, we fought all the time. Again, I was like probably 11 or 12, somewhere around there. This is before I even started like smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean? So for whatever reason, we hated each other. We became like really good friends after a couple of years, but during this period, no, we hated each other. So his mom she was on Jerry Springer, right? When Jerry Springer was not about relationships, when it was like about crazy shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. This was like before it went like, I'm cheating. It was all about aliens. It was all about, Men in Black, just weird type shit. And but she was also on or I don't think she was on Howard Stern, but this dude that she was with. Anyways, so I don't want to say her name because just for privacy purposes. This lady literally would be like I'd be sitting downstairs with her son, on our good day or whatever, and she would come down there and be like, "Hey, right now you got to come running outside," right? And we'd go outside, and she's like, "Just 5 minutes." And I would see the craziest fucking shit. Like this one time, she brought us outside, and this is Maryland. This is Montgomery County, Maryland. It's like not backwoods or anything like that. We're in like the middle of the city, basically. And she's like, "All right, stand right here and look up." And I see this thing. It's like a cigar tube, basically. It's the middle of the night, and it's just a cylindrical metal tube, right? It can't be more than like maybe 75 feet up. It's really close. And it kind of comes up. It's right here. And then just bright light shoots out the front of it and it takes off. And she's like, "All right, that's it." And I'm like, "What the fuck was that shit?"
Holy
you know what I mean?
She
like,
fucking
what the
called
fuck?
you for that.
How the fuck did she know, right? In several minutes that this thing's going to happen, right? So her story was that she got abducted and the alien's name was Tan, Tan. And there's this whole book on it. It's called The Coming of Tan. This guy that wrote it, his name was Riley Martin. And he was the guy that was on Howard Stern. He was on Howard Stern often. Like if you look up Riley Martin, you'll see that guy. This was like, she was somebody that introduced me to him, but I never really... I was young, you know what I mean? I wasn't really like taking it all really seriously back then. Like I got to meet Riley kind of thing. He died, but I never, really took the gravity of that situation. So this lady, she would talk to me about things well before they would come out, right? She told me about Men in Black, like well before Will Smith made the movie. She was talking about skulls. She had like VHSs of stuff that I would sit there and watch. She had one that was like of this whole interview with the Crystal Skulls lady and like all this crazy shit, man. She had a story that she said that the Men in Black actually came to the neighborhood and were like standing off in the distance and just kind of floated away. You know what I mean? And this is like well before, like when she told me that was before I really had any idea what Men in Black was. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, okay, you know, whatever, you know, you saw some pale dude standing at the edge of the neighborhood. Who cares? You know what I mean? And then you didn't see him walk backwards. That was like what I thought back then. But then, you know, years later, I was thinking about all the things she said and how like, okay, Indiana Jones did the Crystal Skulls thing. Will Smith did the fucking Men in Black thing. And then, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think if she said anything else, but yeah, that was that I probably saw the most shit with her, but I did see something else years later while I was in Williamsburg. I was at my wife's parents' house and I just went outside. I was sitting there smoking a cigarette and I don't smoke anymore, but cigarettes anyways. So I went outside, I'm sitting there smoking a cigarette and I look up and I'm just kind of looking and the sky, it just looks weird. It looks like I'm looking through something, right? So I'm looking up and it's like it's how to explain it. It looks like I'm looking at the stars, but through a lens, so but like just in like one spot, right? And just like this one spot, and then it kind of moves and just
like a cloaking device kind of thing.
Right. I was like, okay, but it looked. It had hard edges, right? And I've come to learn that if it's got hard edges, then that's probably government shit. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's there. They probably just had a screen on the bottom that projected whatever was above it on that screen. You know what I mean? Like that's their cloak or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool.
I mean, impressive nonetheless, but not quite there.
Not otherworldly. You know what I mean? Not like that tube thing. That tube thing was just crazy.
That's interesting. You mentioned tube and that's been depicted in ancient, you know, paintings. There's that one, I forget what it's called right now. I'll look it up later, but it's like this medieval painting of like, you know, balls and tubes just kind of going at it in the sky and shit, right? Do you know what that painting's called?
I don't know what the name of it is, but I do have the visual of it when you said that. Because it looks like a shit ton of comets or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just a bunch of things in the sky and they're like red or something, I think
I can find it right here, but I mean, even the Tic Tac is kind of a tube, right? A shorter tube, so it's consistent. So I believe it, man, because it's consistent. You know, the story has been consistent and it's been reported by you know credible people. I don't know. I found a picture of it.
Yeah. Let's see that.
Let's see. It's a Renaissance painting. Called the Celestial Phenomenon. You overnumbered.
It can't be more obvious. You know what I mean? It's the
Look at this shit, man.
Phenomenon. Yeah.
They're like tubes. There's a cross, you know?
That can't just be like a flight of fancy. It can't just be somebody being like, you know what? Right. I'm just going to add some crosses and the sun's got some, those are rays. No, you know what I mean? They had, some dude had to see something and was like, dude, I got to get this on canvas.
You know, it's interesting now that I look at it, they kind of look like, you know, the Greek pillars, you know, I wonder if they have anything to do with UFOs or maybe they're inspired by UFOs and stuff. But you mentioned like sharp edges and UFOs and that kind of being a clue that it's not otherworldly. I mean, I'm sure you know about the Bob Lazar story, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you aware of Bob Lazar?
The which one?
Bob Lazar.
No.
He's
guy from
like
the 80s. Did the interviews with George Knapp, I think his name was. He was the guy from Area 51 that like looked like, you know, big old wireframe glasses. You know what I mean? Looked like
you know what? I'm kind of glad you haven't heard of him because I want you to look him up tonight, Jermaine. There's a documentary on Netflix, I think, right? With
that one's pretty good.
I'm watch that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to,
or even just listen to his podcast, man. He goes in. He's a dude that worked in the propulsion division of trying to reverse engineer UFOs.
Oh shit.
And he says the weirdest part about it, and it's crazy because you see it in our technology now, is when he inspected it, it seemed like the whole fucking like structure of it was 3D printed, you know, like like it was just all one part. There weren't parts that were separated, you know, you can't detach anything. It's just everything was perfect and built efficiently, you know. So I think he said he worked on one of 9, right?
Might have to give it.
There was if you can find any of his like original interviews from like the 80s where it's not him with George Knapp, but it's him talking to the camera. He talks about freaking what was it called? God, now I'm drawing a blank.
Are you talking about Element 115?
There's Element 115, but he talks about that thing that came out of the Vatican where they could look into the past, like the
chronovisor.
But what did we call it? Looking Glass. He talked about, he mentioned and he named it. He called it Project Looking Glass, and this was from the 80s. Like nobody on this side of the 80s had heard it for since like 2 years ago when I think Q was talking about it or something. You know what I mean? That was like the first time most people had heard about it. But then, boom, here pops up this video where he mentioned it by name in the 80s, and that shit blew my mind. And now I can't find that video. I've been looking for it. Like I'm trying to find it and I can't find it anywhere. It's pretty crazy.
You know what's crazy, man? Yeah, I was posting all these like UFO footage on YouTube from YouTube onto X, around the time the UFO hearings or what was happening. And a lot of them got taken down. A lot of the ones that showed transmedium crafts, coming from outer space, coming from the air down to the ocean, or coming from the ocean out, which is fucking terrifying. I mean, we live in California, so Catalina Island seems to be a hotspot for UFOs and transmedium UFOs. So that shit's fucking terrifying, man.
You're close to, God, what is that other base called? There's an underground base. I think it's Nevada, though, somewhere around there. God, I can't remember the name of it at all, but it's like supposedly the big base that has, multi levels with all different types of shit going on. There's like people in cold storage because we're food for them and all types of stuff. It's a crazy story, but I mean, I almost treat it like it's like fictional reality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't say that I necessarily believe every detail that I get. I kind of treat it like wrestling. It's like, it's very entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't prescribe to it, specifically. And I treat pretty much everything like that. So that way I can look at it objectively from every side. I do the same thing with like religions and, just about everything. It's your best way to be able to like really be objective if you don't necessarily believe in everything you hear. You know what I mean? Like, it's plausible, so why not?
That's how I treat when people get heated debating about politics.
Oh yeah,
that's how I see it. You're a rock fan against a Stone Cold fan. Is this funny?
Right? Yeah.
It's what it is to me.
When at the same time they're all fucking puppets. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like in reality, it really doesn't matter because they're all chosen. So who gives a shit? Right. But people do. but I'm not trying to offend anybody.
Hold on, my camera's gone. You guys can take over. I'll try to figure this out. I want to talk about that lady, though. She seems mystical, calling out these UFOs and stuff.
We need to bring her on the podcast. Come on, man.
Right? I'm not sure if she's alive anymore. I tried to find her son. Like, I spent a good deal of time, like, trolling Facebook, trying to find dude. You know what I mean? And then when I finally found him, I sent him a message, and I was like, you might not remember me. I'm that dude that got arrested in the neighborhood. We used to fight all the time, blah, 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 just all these things. And I haven't gotten a message back. He's probably like, another spam. I'm getting all this spam. I'm like,
I don't live that life anymore.
yeah. No, dude. All right. So dude, like literally had corn tattooed on his knuckles. I was like, I remember when that was years later, but I was like, I met back up with him and I was like, yeah, that's not going to age well. I was like, corn's cool. I really like them, back then. I was like, but that's not going to age well after all the meth talk. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
What's crazy about all the aliens and UFO stuff coming out, and you know, as a person that's been subscribed to it from like 2008 and stuff, like way back in high school and stuff, you're kind of seeing that it's a double-edged sword, because yeah, it's confirmed that there are aliens and UFOs, but what comes with that is a lot of misinformation about them now, right? As much as the Mexican aliens look cool, I don't know, man. I'm not fully sold.
But you see, it's things like that that really discredit people who are really trying to show the truth.
Yeah,
some motherfucker coming up with fake shit, and they're like, "Nah, that's bullshit." And then, dude,
plaster,
you know what I mean? It up for all of us, man. We're trying to prove that there's all this going on. Like, I remember from the earliest memory, as a kid, I remember just saying aliens are real, and like all the kids in my class were like, "You're stupid." I was like, "No, I think you're real, man." You know, it's just, but aliens. I was telling Jerizi and all of them in our Discord that it's so weird that it's now, oh yeah, you know, for the longest time they wanted to deny it, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, they're real. I'm like, why?
No one cares.
Why are they telling us now? You know, like, what are you trying to hide from us that you're giving us the alien information? That's what I want.
Epstein's list. I mean, that's the only big thing that was going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, pretty much. And did you see that picture with Kamala and fucking Epstein? There was, I think it was on Twitter, and it was like, "This is why we can't have the list." I was like, "Okay, let me screenshot that." You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's pretty good. But I remember now it's everybody.
Yeah, and then when COVID was at the peak and everyone was getting restless at home, they started releasing information. I was like, "Dude, no one wants this. They just want to get out of fucking house already.
Right?
We already know the aliens exist. You guys are the ones that are playing like it's not." So, but yeah, so I just think. There's just you got the picture. There's just shit going on that's why they're giving us the aliens now. But we're like, we already know what this is.
Wow.
I think they're trying to hide their own tech. Like, honestly, I think what's happened is either some private corporation or corporations came up with this, you know, not faster than light tech, but like close to it. And they're not under the same disclosure laws. They don't have to follow the same rules. Yeah, you got corporations that are bigger than most small countries. You know what I mean? Yeah, they can throw money around to anybody. They can buy anybody they want. We're really in a corptocracy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a democracy anymore. It's a run by corporations. I mean, there's people that say that the country is a corporation, that it was a corporation because of the Vatican or some shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do we really believe? You know, I don't know. So I would believe nothing. That's the best way to go. So just be happy if you can. But yeah, no, I
it's a show.
As far as aliens go,
that's like I said. That's why I love your perspective. That's why I love your. That's why I love your perspective on seeing it as kind of wrestling. You know what I mean? Because it's healthy. You know what I mean? You're invested a little bit, but not too much to where you're taking it personally and it's ruining your day. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, I was a huge rock fan. Okay. All right. Sideburn Rocky. Right. I was like, dude, I had a beanie. It said The Rock on it. Like, I wore that every fucking day in the middle of the summer. Didn't matter. And then when NWO hit, I was hooked. I was a WCW fan, 100%.
Oh, wow. I was DX.
UWO was like
DX.
You know what I mean? I mean, I liked WWF at the same time. It wasn't like I disliked it, but you know, I would only go over there during commercials for a long time. But you know, it was good. I had all the games. Nintendo 64 all the way.
I used to play with WCW Nitro.
NWO. Yeah. Nitro and then
N64.
Yeah.
I got it on emulator, I think, on this computer. It doesn't hold up. It's not the same.
Definitely.
Not without the controller.
Yeah.
Just go back to aliens.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, like you said, are we releasing it because we're hiding our own tech? You know what I mean? And you said that there's, you know, these legal loopholes where, you know, if we have our base in another country, we can operate under different rules and, you know, different laws. And that kind of makes me think about the Hadron Collider, you know, because It was said that aliens and UFOs started being prevalently seen once we started using nuclear bombs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's two things I've heard about summoning UFOs. One is, I don't know if you guys know about Stephen Greer. He said that you can summon UFOs by meditating and channeling them.
It's like the U5 technique. I can't remember the name of it. It
you
is
know what's up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's from that old movie with
Right.
the guy
I think
from
it's called
the
Sirius.
Jaws movie.
Mhm.
Close Encounters.
Close
It's
Encounter,
called
right.
CE5 technique, I think is what it's called. The CE5. Something like that, because it's Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Somebody's got to. Where's Jamie? Have him pull it up or whatever. You know what I mean?
And the other way was to, transport nuclear weapons. I heard if you're transporting nuclear weapons, 100% of the time, these UFOs will come and either disarm your controls, disarm your weapons. And the interesting thing to note is they're just watching, you know what I mean? If they wanted to take your weapons, they very well could, but they're just kind of just making sure we don't fuck around and, destroy the planet and stuff.
Yeah.
And why I say that is, why I bring all that up is I feel like one tech that we came up with that's not really alien tech, or maybe it was inspired by alien tech that we retrieved, is the Hadron Collider.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of weird shit going on there. It's is it Sweden or Switzerland where they have it?
Both, I think. It's intercontinental or whatever, interborder.
And I mean, like, I remember around the time, TikTok's crazy, first and foremost, right?
Oh,
like, as far as conspiracy theories go, that is the place. I feel like you'll go down the rabbit hole. You'll be there for like hours and just be like, oh shit, like, I need to go. I need to wake
Twitter's
up.
getting to that way, though. Like the new Twitter. That's why I like it. Like, I do enjoy Twitter now. Yeah, before you couldn't say shit because you would be basically banned, or shadow
Pretty
banned.
much.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, if you didn't toe the line, but now it's like, it's a free for all. But at the same time, you get like a ton of OnlyFans content. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Anything you put on there. You'll get like 10 follows for every post, but it'll be like, some horror, whoring it out. It's just like, okay, fine.
Like, check out my black hole.
Yeah, you're like,
fucking ad for OnlyFans.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
He said, what?
Take all my money.
Oh, man. Yeah,
no, I think
Doge.
I think with the CERN thing, though. Oh no, hold on. One thing I wanted to say real quick. I think with nukes, they're not so worried about us like blowing ourselves to pieces, like using it as a weapon. I think nukes open up a portal somehow. Like that's like portal tech kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not so much like, oh, they could give they don't care if ants kill each other. They care if ants, build a Stargate. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's kind of, at least my opinion, my fictional reality is what I like to look at.
I feel like nukes is just a big dick measuring thing that we're using. It's just like, I got a nuke too. But no one wants to use it. No one wants to use that shit. Not even Russia. Russia could have used it already, but they're like, nah, we're not going to use it.
There was some compelling video saying that nukes weren't even real. Like they were showing just massive amounts of just tons and tons of boxes of TNT stacked up. And then they showed the explosion. They were like, pretty much the same thing. And then they were like, I think it was on Joe Rogan. There was a guy talking about how you can prove that all those old nuke videos were fake. Like there's one where a car just appears and they're like, okay, here's the thing. Look at those old nuke videos, right? Where it's like you see the buildings just start to disintegrate and trees getting blown over, but yet the camera is stationary and survives. You know what I mean?
It's got a really good zoom lens, I think.
Right? Yeah, they're filming it from a mile away.
Right. Even a mile away, that shit should be obliterated, right? But
exactly.
That is, I never thought about that. The camera has always stayed in place.
And just doesn't even move, doesn't budge even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's that video. Where
I like Nuke Countdown, Call of Duty.
Yeah, this does look like.
Oh I mean, that's a dope ass
yeah.
camera. That's got to be an Android.
Yeah.
I need to be streaming a podcast with that kind of camera.
Look,
yeah, it's this one right here. Look at the car in the background.
like that's them setting it up or whatever, but one of them appears like right behind the camera, right behind the building or something.
Oh, you're talking about after right here, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's that one. It could be. It all looks the same, but apparently all of this was filmed at like the Alameda Air Force Base, where Jim Morrison's dad was like in charge of.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean? Like it's shit like that where like you start to look and see. Okay, you have these generals or whatever that were supposedly in charge of this stuff, and then their sons are like pop culture icons. You know what I mean? That should raise a red flag for everyone. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Jim Morrison's dad, and I think Janis Joplin's dad was like a general or something too, which is crazy. It's just crazy stuff. Supposedly, fucking Jerry Garcia's, so do you know who Ken Casey was?
No.
Ken Casey was the author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right?
Okay.
So he took part in a study for acid, right? And it was like the CIA running a, acid test. It was called the acid test. And so right after he took it and enjoyed it thoroughly, he was like, I'm going to start throwing these just massive parties where everybody can come and just do it, right? And so Jerry Garcia went and did it. A bunch of the main heads from back in the 60s started doing it around there. But they would throw these parties and he would say, you come in at like 8:00 at night or whatever, but you can't leave until like 2:00 the next day. Because if you do, it's going to draw attention. But remember, it wasn't illegal back then because it was remember when like E came out, it was like too new to be illegal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's same basic principle, But supposedly even, on the Haight-Ashbury street, the main street of the 60s.
San Francisco, right?
Yep. There was the Haight-Ashbury clinic that the CIA ran up until like 3 years ago or something like that when they got called out on it. And so they were still distributing shit from there for like years, for like 40 years. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's crazy how intertwined the CIA is to like everything. I don't want to like speak too much on it because I'm not trying to get on radars, but at the same time, I won't say anything if they give me information, or I'll say information that they want me to say. You know what I mean? I'll put that out there. Fuck it, I don't give a shit as long as they give me some money. I mean, shit, I'll take it. I don't care. But
strange fact: our CIA is our biggest drug dealer.
yeah. Basically, I mean, that's been since that definitely invented crack. You know what I mean? We know that for a fact.
Yep.
As good as it is. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, not good.
So what's crazy about CIA too, and I mean, like, you don't have to believe in aliens. You don't have to believe in like all these like weird tech, like the Hadron Collider and stuff. But like the CIA believes in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about aliens too, that I just found out was, I looked into the psychic spies in Ingo Swann. Yep. And how I think the CIA used him because Ingo Swann is I don't know if you guys know about Ingo Swann, but he's a gifted psychic, and he's able to remote view any area in the. I don't even want to limit it to the planet, but he can remote view anywhere based on just given coordinates, right? Mm-hmm. You give him coordinates that he's never even heard of or never even seen, and he'll remote view it accurately.
Mm-hmm.
So what the CIA did is they used him to remote view to the moon, and they made him go to the dark side of the moon. And apparently he found different bases.
Like moon bases. Yeah. Moon bases, man. I mean, shit, man. I was hearing about moon. I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure that lady was talking about moon bases and shit like that too back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's, I don't know if y'all have heard the stories about the dude who like he had to do something. He was like a tech or something at a army base. He had to go there and they showed him pictures that were like, because it was just some guy that like never got to talk to anybody about it and wanted to like just talk to somebody. It was like, hey, did you see the bases on the moon? Here, we have pictures of it. And so the guy went home thinking, you know, he's this was great. He's about to see it on the news, but 30 years later, you know, nothing, still nothing. There's some great videos on YouTube about like just people talking about it. These stories that are supposed to be fake, you know what I mean, but are pretty compelling in their fakeness. It could be very, you know, the layers of truth within layers of fiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which I mean, like tends to happen once they uncover the truth, just to kind of keep compartmentalized. But the most compelling part about this story that I found out was he peered through the windows of one of those bases as like astral form. So imagine him fucking Doctor Stranging into the moon. You know what I mean? He said that he saw beings and they're like tall, like shadowy beings. I don't know. He probably described them as grays, like the typical grays. But he said the beings, like, they saw him. You know what I mean? They recognized his presence, and it startled him. And you know, that's when he kind of retreated back to his body, which is interesting because there's new talk now. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard the UFO hearings, but it was brought up that, you know, there's an interdimensional component to the UFOs. And I like how you brought up the nukes kind of being maybe bursting, you know, a fucking wormhole into the fabric of reality that might let in interdimensional beings or some sort of shit, you know what I mean, that they're watching out for.
I like to think
what's crazy about this, it ties in. This is funded by the CIA. You know what I mean? Yeah. So whether you want to believe this is true or not, like the people who are in charge,
they believe it.
You know?
Yeah. Just like the whole, what is the? I draw so many blanks. What is the thing called where you listen to frequency and you can astral project, pretty much do all of the things just by listening to, like if you got headphones on. They'll put two different tones in
Stargate. I think it's like the I know what you're talking about. It's the gateway method.
Gateway experience. Yeah.
Gateway experience. Yeah.
Man, dude. All right.
I did that, bro. That shit was kind of weird, man.
So did I. I like to experiment with shit. And I did that. So there's one that works really, really well. And it's just for sleep. It's just called The Best Sleep You'll Ever Get or something like that. It's an 8-hour video. And all it is like a green graph. If you look up the YouTube video, it definitely works. It puts you into like theta and then delta. You know, it definitely works to put you to sleep. But I had an experience on it one time, right? So I'm doing the thing. I'm laying there. I get into like a meditative state, right? I'm just laying there. I got these big headphones on, and what happens is, I go into this kind of like, it's not an out-of-body experience. I've had out-of-body experiences. That's not what happened this time. This time I'm laying there, and I've listened to this thing several times because I used to do it to like just put me to sleep. I'm an insomniac like crazy. I can lay there and can't go to sleep. I can be dead tired and I can't fall asleep. So I was listening to this thing, laying there one night. I've listened to it several times at this point, and I started to hear people talking. Right. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but they were saying something. And then all of a sudden I could make it out. Right. And they're like, they're just sitting there. They're saying, you know, something. And then he goes, wait, someone's here. He goes, hello. And then like, when I heard that, I literally went like, I ripped the things off and I'm like, what the fuck? I back up the track. Right. I back up the video a little bit. Hit play, and I didn't hear it again. I was like, did I dream it? Was I like, did it put me out? And I went to sleep, and then I dreamt somebody like hearing me in that room or something. Something happened. Like it wasn't an astral projection because that's happened before, but not with this video. And I don't know, man. It was just weird. It's like I heard somebody notice some part of me like listening to them. It was the weirdest thing, man. It was crazy though. But that shit definitely works. That gateway experience. I had another experience with it that was pretty crazy. Because you can get you can do ones. They've pretty much mapped out frequency to experience, where you can have a DMT experience, you can have a trip experience. And they work as long as you're like receptive.
As long as you haven't done it yet.
yeah. If you've never done DMT, it's the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? I don't know though. Like it's different. It's not the same. You know what I mean? But it's something. It's not nothing. That's the weirdest part about it. It's not it's not like it's not its own experience. So there's definitely something to the frequency and the hemispheric part of your brain. I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? But there's something to be explored doing that gateway, not the gateway experience itself, because that's changed. Supposedly when the tapes were out, that was like a thing to do. But once it went digital, supposedly the CIA changed it. I don't know what they changed, but supposedly it's different now. That's like everything that I read, they say it's different. Like, don't do it anymore. But you can do like just pure tone. If you do, hold on one second. I keep fucking my shit up. There we go. Okay, I'm backwards. If you do pure tone, something in like the 4 hertz frequency.
Oh, we about to go deep, baby.
You can have crazy shit happen. You know what I mean? Like total out of body experiences. But you got to do this thing. Like you've got to put yourself into a relaxed state, and that could be whatever you do to do that. But you've got to like it. I'll give you an example. I tried it with my kids, right? Because I was like, their pineal gland isn't calcified yet. You know what I mean? They're still kids. They can still do shit. You know what I mean? Like as adults, we're kind of limited in what we can do now. But with kids, they can do certain things. Think of it like this, like their creative mind can still create, if that makes sense.
Right. So first of all, they don't have the worldview and the rules that kind of, limit us. You know what I mean? If you see if an adult is telling a kid their problem, right? It's a hurdle. The kid's going to be like, well, why don't you just do this? And to the adults, like, simple. Oh shit, why didn't I think about that? You know what I mean? So that's one like micro example, and you can extrapolate that and and turn that into many other examples. But that's one way, and I feel like it's their attachment to the creative realm. You know what I mean? It draws from more of a source creativity than something that's kind of affected by this realm's creativity, if that makes any sense,
Yeah. I mean, if you really think about it, it's crazy because, we used to believe in the ether, right? But we got new physics now. But if you really it's crazy because the Germans were launching rockets. We stole all of the German scientists. That was like the big prize of World War II. And they were launching it under their own form of physics. Like they did not believe in relativity at all. It was like diglocken or something. I can't remember what it was called, but they had their own, and it was all ether based. It was all about the ether. And they're the ones that were like right? the most advanced. Yeah. And they were the most advanced at the time, but yet they weren't correct. It didn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Damn, man. It's crazy because most of the research I did for tonight's podcast was on like psychic spies and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. And interestingly enough, it led into the Montauk Project, which, they say is based on, hold on, my dog is tearing up my couch.
No, you're good.
They say the Montauk Project is connected to the Montauk Boys, which possibly inspired Stranger Things, right? But the Montauk Project, apparently, the guy who led it, his name was Preston Nichols, and he was working with Duncan Cameron. I guess Duncan Cameron was the psychic that was the subject, right? Apparently, they did a study that when they hit the psychic with a frequency of 410 to 420 hertz, it blocks your psychic abilities. Like for some reason,
that's what the radio. Yeah, that's what we like listen to on the radio now. You know what I mean?
As a musician, like I'm sensitive to that stuff, knowing like, strange facts and a musician. So I see kind of music as a metaphysical kind of energy, you know what I mean? So I'm glad you see it that way too. It's pretty crazy.
I'm telling you, man, sometimes like completely sober, I can play something and I feel this like there's something else there. Not necessarily like, I don't know. I kind of have to lead into this. So the one time I did the thing that we're talking about earlier, dimethyltryptamine.
No, we'll talk about
I had this experience that, you know how when you have have you ever heard of the silver cord where like when you go and astral project,
it's like your belly, right?
There's a silver cord attached. It's either your back or your belly. So I was sitting there on my couch and I saw what looks like fiber optics, right? That's what I saw. That's because I didn't know about the silver cord before this. And I saw what looked like fiber optics come out of my ceiling and then go and attach to like all my neighbors, right? And it was weird because it's like I just knew that that's what it was doing. It was going out of the ceiling into the walls. And it was just going through to my neighbors' houses and one to me, right? And I was like, oh, so that's source light connecting to everybody. And then right after that, I started to hear, because I had more audio than I did visual, except for that part. What I heard was, it sounded like, you know how like when you're in a lunchroom, you hear, you know that everybody's having conversations, but you can't make out what the conversations are. I was alone in my house. Yeah. I was alone in my house, but it sounded like there was just a flurry of activity, like everywhere. Like my whole house was just full of people, but there was no one there. You know what I mean? It was just me. Wow. So I could hear like people walking around. I could hear people talking, but no one was paying attention to me. And the info that I got, like what I knew that it was that it's like the veil was just really thin. I couldn't see through it, but I could hear through it. Right. And it just said, okay, so there's always all this activity around you. There's always like there's this other realm that you can't see, and there's always something going on. So there's, all these people, these spirits, whatever you want to call them. Maybe that's what ghosts are. Like when the veil is a little bit thin and we can see through it a little bit or something. But I got to the point where I started getting sick, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm praying to the porcelain goddess, right? I'm sitting there, I feel like I'm going to throw up, but I'm not throwing up. I'm just sitting there at the toilet. And I hear something come into the bathroom and say, "What's wrong with him?" Right. And I say, not me though, like I didn't say it, but myself said it. Like I didn't say any words, but I could hear me telling this person, don't mess with him. And then I got the best message I ever got. It said, it was me telling me, it was like my super conscience telling me, don't place so much emphasis on worry. You worry too much and it's fucking with us. Stop worrying. And I was like, and since that day, I stopped worrying about shit. I used to worry about like everything, like every fucking thing you could think about. I was such a worrier. I would worry about shit that like would never happen. You know what I mean? I would come up with scenarios to worry about. And after that, I was like, well, shit, I told myself not to worry anymore, so I can't worry. You know what I mean? I was like, and so that was like my little experience trying to like make DMT. And I came up with that,
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's interesting because DMT kind of has a buzzing effect too, right? Like, because we're talking about frequencies and stuff, and a lot of people like to discuss when it comes to DMT, whether it's just a chemical reaction in your brain or is it, the veil being lifted? You know what I mean? I mean, the fine line of that is a pretty significant fine line. You know, it's the difference of tripping out or, you know, finding the interdimensional doorway.
Right. Can we ever know? I mean, it's so subjective. You know what I mean? Like, can we really ever like quantify it as a thing? I heard that there were scientists trying to map out the DMT realm, basically saying that, like, if we both did it in the same room, we would have a similar experience because regionally it's like they can map it. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. You know, if you've ever heard of these, like the trip report or anything like that, there's that guy, Shane, I believe his name was, that would have, like, his friend would do it. And then the entities would tell him, you know, the friend, oh, that guy Shane's here. We love Shane. You know what I mean? Because the guy was telling him while he was tripping or whatever. He's like, there's like these entities, there's these gnomes here asking about you. You know what I mean? I was like, that's interesting. I wish I could get some real shit. You know what I mean? Instead of like, you know, trying to bootleg my own. I mean, you know, I read about a guy that did that. That's what I'm saying. I didn't do it.
Yeah, allegedly.
It's someone allegedly. That is me. Yeah. I read it on the internet.
That's funny. Why I brought up DMT, and it's crazy because I want to share my experience too. Going back to the gateway experience, my initial experience with the gateway experience is, you know, I just put it on. I was chilling on the couch. Okay, this is some meditation shit. I mean, if you've done it, you can probably relate. Mm-hmm. Towards the after the, you know, the mid part of the gateway experience, it talks about like channeling, right, higher beings for guidance, right?
Right.
I thought I was like, okay, this is, you know, first of all, recognized by the CIA, right? Mm-hmm. Could have been tailored. Yeah, we'll factor that in there. But the fact that it went from meditation into like almost channeling entities, right? Yeah. It's fucking weird because, like my experience, I had one DMT experience. There was 1 year where I was going through a tough time, so I was ballsy enough to just, you know, fuck it, I'll do DMT again. Fuck it, do DMT again. Mm-hmm. Right now that things are healthy, it's very intimidating. You know, it's like going on a roller coaster. That's one of the roller coasters from Six Flags. You know, not the Disneyland bitches.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm more wary to do it now. But there was one time I did it, and as soon as I hit it, like allegedly, I was taken over by like just shadowy figures, you know, and it almost looked like the Tribe Called Quest album cover where, you know, they're kind of painted black, but half of them had like those red-green accents.
The Marauders,
you know? Yeah, that one. And then I was fucking like afraid. So I was like, yo, I'm just exploring, you know, I'm not here to like cause trouble if I somehow, you know, trespass into your realm.
Right.
But I ended up fucking almost transporting into this white room where I was laid out in like a medical bed, you know, and I was being observed by these like white goat-headed like beings, you know, and they were just kind of looking at my intentions through my third eye or my pineal gland or whatever, if you want to call it that. But it almost seemed, it gave me, why I bring that up is it kind of gave me Watcher vibes, you know what I mean? And when I did the gateway experience, when they said channel those higher beings, it almost seemed like channeling those, you know, Watcher vibes as well. And I know there's also talks when you talk about DMT and mapping out the DMT realm. Those people fucking take DMT like intravenously, you know, so they're just continuously tripping out
for like an hour and a half or something. That's crazy.
And this podcast is going to get, you know, aliens to scientific to now the occult, because it is all connected. You know what I mean? If you look into the most advanced and the most successful scientists, they all believed and somehow practiced alchemy, you know.
Oh yeah.
There was a thirst to know more, and they knew this physical world wasn't the limit of it. You know, they could push the envelope. And I mean, just look back at ancient texts, and there's ancient texts of like fucking sorcery and magic spells and fucking, you know, different grimoires and shit.
Man, but I was thinking of that shit recently. Mm-hmm. Man, that's crazy because I completely forgot about it.
Shit.
You just said, all I wrote down was thought experiment. And I was like, what was the thought experiment? I can't remember at all. But it was, okay, let's say, because a lot of people will say to me, magic may have been something that existed in the past, but doesn't exist anymore, right? And I'm like, what that sounds to me like is that like some grand wizard took over the world and made it so like magic doesn't exist. And we're all just in this weird spell now, So yeah, you just reminded me of that. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now I think there's a fucking wizard that took over the world.
Well, I mean, like why I mention this is there's a conspiracy theory that, the technology that we receive, that we're using now, could have either been, tech that we've either gathered, you could say we gathered from crashed vehicles, UFOs, or been passed down interdimensionally from, these continuous DMT trips that people are taking. You know what I mean? They come across entities. I mean, anybody who's in DMT, I make this joke all the time. If you're atheist, take a hit of DMT and your worldview will change. You believe in something.
Yeah,
exactly.
It might not be, but that's why I like that guy Santos, but Nelly, I think his name is, because he kind of talks about this, like, before organized religion, everybody kind of believed in this one thing, and that was like, that's where they got like the Son of God and like all this other stuff from, was that, it was all basically astrology, and it's why every ancient religion is like, or ancient civilization is astrology heavy as hell. You know what I mean? They're just like way into it. And it's like, oh, all they had to do was look at the stars. What else were they going to do? There was no TVs. And it's like, that's your argument, that there were no TVs? Okay, maybe. But I don't know. I think there's something more to it,
Right. No, yeah. Now that you mention it, I feel like that was the base spiritual belief that, and then, I mean, it's human nature for people to be power hungry and come up with their own beliefs and kind of be a Luciferian and feel like they want to be God. So they name the sun, they name the stars, and they create their own stories with their own labels. And I feel like, the metaphorical Tower of Babel curse happened to humanity as far as their religion dispersity,
It's pretty crazy. It's like, I wonder if it was, we all are gods and they wanted to be the only God. You know what I mean? Like, instead of, if the one world religion was that, yes, it's all in you, it's all about frequency, it's all about astrology, and it's all about like, the fact that the only way to God is through you. And that's basically what Jesus was saying, except we bastardized it. You know what I mean? We made it like, instead of, he's basically saying, the only way to God is through me, which is through you. We were like, nope, it stops at me. And, it's some external thing and not an internal thing.
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of what I think. I like the fact that, like, so this guy told me when I was a kid, he's like, just think about this. He's like, Jesus prays like this. That's something from India. And I'm like, interesting. And then years later, right, I'm looking at the Emerald tablets, and it says, one of the first things it says is as above, so below. And that predates the Sermon on the Mount, which is what Jesus said about as above, so below. So he had to have at least went to Egypt and studied in the ancient mystery schools. I mean, that to me, that had to have happened.
Yeah.
So he was probably a dude, right, that was enlightened, and they took his message and turned it into something completely that it wasn't, is what I think, the fictional reality anyway. That's what I think happened. Without believing it, that's what I believe.
It's funny because I saw a TikTok. I mean, it's crazy because before this podcast, over here in the back, we were arguing about fucking Jesus, actually.
Yeah.
And how, the name is not even, I mean, originally it's Yeshua, right? And
nothing coincidence, by the way.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, we were talking about, like, where did Jesus come from? Like, Yeshua translated as Joshua. So, like, if there's only one name and there's power in the name, I made this reference, and he's in the back right now because, he had his shield of faith and the sword of truth. No, but I was saying, like, if you're about to go to the club, right, and you had to drop a name.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, you drop a name at the table, and it's like, hey, drop Yeshua. All right, bet. Hey, I know Yeshua. I'd be like, oh, dude, who the fuck is Yeshua, bro? Jesus is in there, but not, I don't know who Yeshua is. Just changing the name like that. I mean, it's deep enough to the point where you're accepting him into your soul, your heart as your savior. You pray to him when, you're at your lowest for some kind of like divine intervention. And it's almost just like a empty vessel of a name instead of bastardizing. Because, I mean, ancient texts would say there's power in the name of Yeshua. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty crazy that I feel like it's kind of been Mickey Mouse, it's been Disney-fied.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, it's like, okay, so let's say that there is this all-powerful entity, right, that knows your heart through and through. So at the same time, you believe that, and then you believe that the Most High is going to be like, you got my name wrong. Eternal hell for you. You know what I mean? Like, right. That ain't a God that I want to worship. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
right.
the God of gods, right? Because there's got to be, we know that there's more than just human.
It's got to be the main guy.
Right. The Most High, right? And so I don't try to like get so hung up on semantics, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, what are the Jewish people? They say it's a tetragrammaton. God in the Bible said, "My name is I am," and it's like there's a lot of different things. It's just it really comes down to belief. It's, do you know in your heart that you're worshiping the Most High God, the God of gods, right? Because even in Genesis it says, "Let him not eat from the tree of knowledge, lest he becomes like us." Not me, us, meaning plural. So there's obviously more, you know what I mean?
Damn.
Nothing, or just one thing. So I don't know. I kind of like the idea, though, that like we are the split version of God experiencing life. Like that kind of makes sense. But again, I don't, 100% believe anything, because then, I'll be biased towards it. So I try to just kind of like look at everything in a way. It could be right. That could be it. It could be this. It could be that. Who knows? I don't know.
So my thing, I mean, I agree with that, right? I agree with that. But I'm just bringing this up, Daniel, or DJ, because my homie in the back is like, yeah, he's right. But my thing is,
what?
you can't say that if you're also saying that if there's someone in China that is doing good and believes in God but didn't accept Jesus, he's not going to go to heaven. You know what I mean? If you're making that standard of a rule, and like,
right,
we're trying to target the one deity that could get me into the club. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Daniel. So,
so basically, basically what I'm saying is, so, don't get so hung up on, the Yeshua, Jesus, God, any of that, or Luciferianism, or whatever it is. Because, if you're believing that something is good, if you're believing something that's bad, like, it's one of those things. Like, I don't think that the Most High is going to send you to hell if you got a letter wrong, or if you got, some mistaken thing, because there's a mistranslation from the original Greek or the Hebrew or whatever. It's basically going to be God, or whatever you want to call it, knows you, because you are it, it's what you are. So you're not going to send yourself to hell, are you?
I totally agree. And it kind of circles back into, the WWE kind of perspective.
Yeah.
Not getting too fixated into the details of the names and stuff. You know what I mean?
I mean, except for, you can't be like, oh, that's stone warm. It's stone cold. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, come on. Or Crowbar. I loved Crowbar.
So, we mentioned before I asked you on this podcast, we were talking about what we wanted to, construct this episode around. And you said you wanted to go into facts that you weren't really able to prove that were kind of interesting to you. What are some of those facts? What are the weird shit that you came across in your journey down the rabbit hole? We want to know, man, because we have some to share too, man.
We touched on a lot of them though. Like the hemisync stuff is what, the brain thing.
Yeah.
Fucking DMT, I mean, we really, like, honestly, like I was writing stuff down, and I think we went well beyond pretty much all of that. Like, I don't know, man, honestly, I don't think there's anything that I was like, I want to talk about this. Because, I mean, you pretty much brought them up. I mean, I talked about the alien lady. I didn't even, that wasn't even on the radar. But that was cool, man. I appreciate that.
That's
like,
awesome.
I hadn't thought about her in forever.
She, when you mentioned her, she reminded me of, what's her name? Baba Vanga? Like that, I think she was Russian. She like predicted World War II, 9/11. She like made all these crazy predictions. She was like a female Nostradamus. Like a mystical figure. But I must ask, man, I think the craziest thing we've talked about on this podcast is the fucking homunculus. Have you heard of the homunculus?
Talk to me about it. I want to hear. It's not ringing any bells.
Okay. So Jermaine,
I've heard
dove into that. We had Juan from Juan podcast. We didn't really talk about the homunculus because that's kind of he's known for the homunculus. So we didn't want to make our episode the same as everyone else. But bro, there's this episode or this YouTube video on YouTube. It's fucking 10 hours long by Mind That Failed. And we'll probably wrap up with questions as far as like your favorite content creator that takes you down these, strange rabbit holes. But the homunculus apparently is based on alchemy, Okay. I think the highest practice of alchemy is being able to create a life form out of nothing, One example is, I think they used to do these experiments where they used to have a closed glass container and they used to boil the water and kill the bacteria. And then, observe it after killing the bacteria, and there wouldn't be any bacteria in there. And obviously when they break the container, microbiomes get into the water, and then you observe it later and there's obviously shit in the water, right? But then they did an experiment where they did the same thing in the closed container, where I think it was 25% water and 75% air. That same closed container, they boiled everything down and killed the bacteria. They swished it around in the closed container and they observed it, and there was life forms growing inside that closed container. So the whole thesis of homunculus is biogenesis, pretty much creating a life form without the natural conception of creating a life form.
And what were they doing to like try to create it? Were they like putting intention into it? Were they like thinking about it? Or, I mean, like, was it just...
So this gets very occult and like,
I'm a occultist. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I think I heard that, it's using semen and putting it into a artificial womb. So they practiced on different animals. I think they started out with the cow's womb. So they take a cow, split its stomach, put semen in there, sew it up. And then like in 7 days, they're supposed to check on it. And then there's supposed to be bees that somehow generate from the cow's stomach. Right. So that was the first basis of the alchemical, homunculus process. They went and furthered this practice and were able to make humanoids. What's crazy about this and how it ties it in with everything we've talked about is one of the traits of homunculus is it also, I made a joke about, all these teenage degenerates just kind of jacking off in the socks and paper towels and napkins and flushing them down the toilet. Could there be homunculus her homunculi living in the sewage systems and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Or legitimate babies in the sewer, like
yeah, and
Ninja Turtle down there.
Apparently the lore of the homunculus is if it lives beyond a certain, it lives beyond its expiration date, it starts to kind of be deranged and turns into a monster that, kind of gives way to, werewolves and, Dogman, Mothman, like these weird cryptids that we see. So
interesting.
What makes this crazier is, so you're not supposed to let it live past its expiration date. So what the alchemists do is they're supposed to kill the homunculus before it, transforms into a monster. And upon killing it, the organs and the blood are supposed to give you like a chemical power. So if you drink the blood, you're supposed to be able to walk on water.
So it kind of goes into like the, what do they call that? Adrenochrome type deal.
You could say, I mean, more so with, man-made magic beings instead of actual natural human children, right? Which, gives way to that one special ingredient that gives the nutrients from adrenochrome, right? Instead of the scaring them and we naturally
the terror,
But another lore is if you grind up the homunculus bones or like you do something with its skin and you consume it, you can also like see an X-ray. So there's different, effects that each organ does. But what ties this all in is this was something that, the Knights Templars that was really what they're after. They're after, the rest.
And that's why they were excommunicated. It wasn't because of their like religious beliefs. It was because they were cloning, they're cloning their seed.
Technically, it's an ancient form of cloning, right? Yeah. So what's crazy about this is where are the characteristics of homunculus, man? Almost a miraculous birth out of nothing, right? You have to die early, right? Or else you turn to a monster. And if you consume my blood or my body, you'll have powers. So the craziest thing that I heard is some say that Mary had practiced in like magic and alchemy,
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
And that she was used to store the homunculus, which was Jesus, which, was able to walk on water. Communion is, you got to drink his blood and, take his body. And yeah, it's just pretty crazy because it also ties into now where we're trying to clone people, you know what I mean? And we're kind of, in vitro babies, you could say is some form where, because you're not using the natural womb of it, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like, it's almost like it's an encoded thing. Like it's, they were trying to take that story, even if it was, the Knights Templar, who was before the Geneva Bible, which was before King James. So it would have been, like they were trying to encode that into the story of Jesus, potentially, in fictional reality, right? It's interesting.
So some would say that's why the story has been bastardized so much. So you don't fucking make a bunch of homunculuses, fucking homunculized roaming around. No one's opening up portals everywhere in the name of, the one name that actually resonates, that opens up portals and stuff. Of course, throw a Mickey Mouse, spell or bastardize the recipe or the story a little bit to where you're not able to really see the truth. I could see the
it's like truth in plain sight almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the big secret is staring you in the face every day. But if you don't already go down that path, you're not going to know, you know what I mean? That it is something that you're supposed to see. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Cause that's like
hidden in plain sight.
Yeah. Hidden in plain sight. It's like, so like the whole thing with alchemy anyway, what I've kind of come to realize, I guess, if you want to say, is that it was never really about turning lead into gold, but it's like you're the gold. And like right now you're lead and you're trying to turn, you into that, ascension being or whatever. You're trying to, and that's where like the whole preserving the sacred seed idea comes in and like, doing that, that 1 week out of every month, basically you're supposed to like abstain from pretty much everything. And then you learn, you learn basically the secret, which was, that alchemy was really about you and not about, it's turning you into gold and being gold, basically. And then, once you actually like do the thing, you start to see that information's everywhere. You know what I mean? But it's not that it's like being kept from you or hidden from you. It's that it's like, imagine like if you're told something every day, you can turn away from it and be like, I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
But if, it's something that you have to discover, you're way more like, wow, I found this. It's like, imagine finding a new band, right? Nobody told you about them, but you hear them one day and you're like, wow, this is really good. It's something that you discover. So you're way more invested in it than if, your buddy comes up and is like, yo, this band is great. You got to listen to it. And then you listen to it and you're like, yeah, it's good. But, I'm not as invested. I don't know.
Right. Man, this is a crazy episode. Strange facts.
Sorry. No.
Jeez.
This is great.
No, honestly, like our this season, the episodes have been kind of tame, so I couldn't wait to get you on, man. I wanted to go back down the rabbit hole. So it's awesome. Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I will send you that video, man. It's worth looking into because I didn't do a great job summarizing it. I feel like. And if you're sold on that description, oh my goodness, there's a literal 10-hour video breakdown of this.
I'll probably end up watching most of it at least. You know what I mean? Maybe fast forward a little bit. Look, hey, before we go, there's one thing. You remember? All right, so we're at the end of September, right? So September 11th isn't that far off. Have you ever seen the video of what the kids in the classroom, what words they were learning?
Bro, yes. What the fuck?
Did you see that?
Shit's so cryptic. Yeah, I do remember.
Shit, it was like plane, steel, melt, like all of the fucking words that became like synonymous with. I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's crazy. Like, how could we never have like just backed up that video a little bit? We all just saw Bush being like,
being told a story.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was more to that video. Like, we never were like, hey, let's see what else it said. And that was, that blew my mind. I saw that like 3 weeks ago and I was like, holy crap, that's crazy. That was insane to me. Like, I can't believe it. That's
actually giving me goosebumps right now, just remembering it, because I mean, those kids were conscious enough to remember that time. You know what I mean? So if you're able to put together, hey, do you remember what we were reading before, they told Bush?
It was crazy.
Shit, man.
Because they were like learning words, you know what I mean? They were learning how to pronounce certain words, and those words were steel, plane, building. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking scary. I mean, one deep rabbit hole we didn't go into and kind of ties in, the CIA, the government, and the occult all together. Is the Bohemian Grove, right? And like,
oh man.
And those
it's crazy though. Alex Jones was the one that blew that whole thing open, Yeah, man. Out of everybody, it was Alex Jones. He snuck in there. You know what I mean?
Bro, how do you not recognize Alex Jones in Bohemian Grove? Like,
I know. But he wasn't Alex Jones back then. He was like anti-Bush. You know what I mean?
He definitely had a window to do that, right?
And he took it. You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't care. He's like wrestling to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You know what? I talk about, I mean, it's funny because before we wrap it up, the Trumpers, they get triggered so easily when you talk anything about them. Even though, if you look at the landscape of presidents, he's probably the best candidate. But he's not the Messiah like you're making him out to be.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
I like to, I love that we have this perspective, WWE. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's going against the man, and you guys love it because he looks like he's off script and he's the badass, right?
Right.
He's like when Vince was head of the ministry.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean? When he was like, "Oh, he was scared." Yeah. He was scared, and then he was up on the screen. He was up on the Titantron. You know what I mean? He was like, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" And it was another screw job.
Right.
It was good though. I love that one.
Yeah. The one thing I say about Trump is that I agree with a lot of things he says actually, but what I also do say is he's the dumbest motherfucker to ever
Right.
to sit in that seat and do all that shit for us, because he's like, people are like, oh, he's for the people. It's like, yeah, he's saying what everyone wants, but he don't know how to fucking do it.
Right. It's
That's
just
why everyone
another
agrees with him.
another person
Biden
that was
said, "Hold
always
my beer."
rich. Yeah.
Yeah, and Trump's like, oh, that's what the people want. All right, I'm going to go with that, and they're going to vote for me. And so people voted for him. I sat that election out. I didn't vote for anyone. I was like, man, I'm not voting for anyone.
No Kanye?
Shit.
Yeah, I wrote myself in. I always write myself in when I vote. I always get at least one vote.
Right.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Prendergast from high school. He said if you don't vote, then you can't complain. So even if you vote for yourself, you can talk your shit. You know what I mean?
Something's gonna happen. There'll be a miscount, and all of a sudden, I've got supreme executive power. You know what I mean? I'll be like, all right, let's do this. Everything's legal. You know.
But he's right. Like they get so triggered when you say one thing about him, and they're ready to like put him on the cross for you and say, no, he's our savior. It's like, no, man. He's saving himself too. Like, you guys don't understand. This guy, he's a businessman, and what people don't realize, a lot of businesses flourished under him because, well, he knew how to save everyone because of, with the money and all. That's why business owners like, hey, you know what? We fuck with Trump. He's cool because he saved our asses with all these fucking stupid taxes that Biden's now imposing and shit. But at the end of the day, Trump said a lot of good things, but just like any other politician, he says the right things, but doesn't know how to fucking do it.
Right. Yeah. That's the main thing. It's tell us what we want to hear and lie to our faces afterwards about why you couldn't do it. And it's the same thing. Just rinse and repeat, no matter who's there. It's just same old story.
Social media hack, guys. Go on X and say something bad about Trump. Put your phone away for 30 minutes. Mad impressions. What? You're stupid.
Yeah, dude. Like,
how dare you?
Yeah. You can't even say something.
You're too far gone.
Yeah. It's like, we're gonna drain the swamp. I was like, you didn't drain shit, man. You didn't drain nothing.
All insiders. You know what I mean? Everybody in the cabinet. But it's one of those things. What would I do if I were, if I all of a sudden got, the power or whatever? Probably something similar, like try to put people in power that are that had already been there. But I don't know, man. It's crazy to think about because I just don't. I doubt that I could do it. You know what I mean? I'd be way too like ready to fucking nuke somebody for something. You know what I mean? Not that I want to do that. But, I'd want to open a portal somewhere.
Right. I don't think, like I said earlier, I don't think anyone wants to nuke anyone, but everyone just has it just because it's a flexing power. And
nukes are fake and gay. I'm going to say it.
See, that's
I'm going all in.
They very well could be.
I feel like Kim Jong-un just flexes. He's like, yeah, don't fuck with me because I'm crazy. But deep down, it's like, nah, they won't fuck with me if I keep doing this shit. They'll leave me alone.
I thought that shit was pretty epic, though. You know what I mean? Them holding hands, basically crossing the border.
You know what? I give him props for that because he's just he's trying to make better relations with all these other countries, and people are like, no, he.
How dare he?
Yeah. How dare he try to make peace? Yes, how dare he?
I'd rather not go to war with Russia. They're fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Russia and China, we're fucked.
Yeah. All right. Well, to wrap it up, let's do some rapid fire questions. I wanted to start off by asking you guys, what's a documentary you guys recommend?
On anything?
Yeah. After this episode, let's say, what documentary do you guys recommend after this episode? Let's all give one each. Obviously, mine's that fucking homunculus video, 10 hours long. Mine and Vale. Juan, shout out.
I'm trying to think of really
Documentaries.
good ones that stuck with me because I that's really all I watch on Netflix nowadays. There's nothing really to watch, but I just like looking for documentaries.
You don't like Too Hot to Handle?
Which one's that one?
Ah, bro, you
Yeah,
you need
wait,
to
hold
add
on, what's
Bob
that?
Lazar and Too
Yeah.
Hot to Handle on your list. I'm just
Yeah, then
kidding.
add that on there.
The Bob Lazar one was good. I mean, it was
Yeah.
definitely good. I like that one a lot. That and the Skinwalker one with the same dude.
Right. Jeremy
That
Corbell,
one was
right?
good. Yeah,
That guy's good.
yeah.
Cool guy.
I don't know. I kind of think he's a plant, though. Like, if you really think about it, he came out of nowhere,
He did.
and all of a sudden, he's now with Bob Lazar. He's on Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know.
Everywhere.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
George
saying
Knapp.
he's definitely, I'm not saying he's
Mhm.
definitely like a CIA plant, but the signs are there. It's the same way with like Elon. It's like, we didn't know he was the evil genius, we didn't know he was going to be a super villain. Then you look at the pictures, it's like the signs were there, bro.
I think I'll run with Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
A lot of
Oh,
people-
that was the original, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that was kind of after Loose Change. That's where I kind of
Yeah.
went to next. So that one pretty much it opened my mind to a lot of things, to my curiosity in these. I like all conspiracies, no matter how ridiculous they can be. I entertain it. My favorite one, just for fun, is the fucking birds are not real.
yeah.
It's a
Hey,
funny
look into it,
community.
bro. Look into it.
It's a fun. I have, and it's a funny
Just
community,
kidding.
and I can't tell if it's satire or if people are being serious.
I think
love
it was
It's
at
funny.
first. Yeah. But
and now
it's
there's
good.
people's-
Have
yeah.
you seen a baby hummingbird?
Shit, no.
Yeah.
I
I
haven't.
mean, it's probably
It's
real.
proof, bro. It's proof.
Look into it, bro.
Yeah. You won't, yeah. It's just like flat earth, you know what I mean? As soon as you try to debunk it. But
I've seen like crows ran over, and it looked like just guts to me. It didn't look like no robots.
right, yeah. I did a troll on one of those one time where I said, okay, I'll prove it. I have a bird, right? I said, I'm gonna go rip him open and see if it's a robot. And then like a week later, I went back to my comment and wrote, it was not. You know what I mean? Like I did it, was sad about it or something. I don't know if anybody ever saw it, but I did it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Skinwalker one.
Mhm.
Like I being put on the spot, like I know what's gonna happen. As soon as we get off of here, I'm gonna be like, I should have said this other documentary. But I'm just gonna go
That's
with
how
the
I'm going to feel
Skinwalker one
after
for
this.
now.
But
Yeah.
that guess is a good one. I feel like
It is. It's up
it's
there.
still super relevant.
Or Dead Internet Theory. I like that one
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
I haven't
That
heard
one's
of that.
crazy. Basically, it's all just corporation run now. Like if you type in pizza, right, it'll say there's 55 billion results. But if you keep on hitting last page, go all the way to the last page, it's only like 1 million. Well, what happened to, those millions and millions of vlogs or, posts that people just wrote pizza on or whatever? Now they're all scrubbed. Most of the internet's scrubbed now. We don't have the internet from 1995 anymore. It's all it's all gone.
It's all
You can't find all those MySpace posts anymore,
Mhm.
It's all gone.
Crazy. Yeah, I've been using DuckDuckGo lately instead of Google. Different
Yeah.
experience. Crazy.
That and Brave works, and you get paid in crypto for using it. So that
Oh,
works.
wow.
Full circle. We just came
That's
full
awesome.
circle.
Hey, there we go.
Dogecoin to the moon.
Sweet.
All right, let's wrap it up there. That was perfect.
Hell yeah.
DJ, where can people follow you and find you, man?
3 Strange Facts at 3 Strange Facts on TikTok. Kurt's Toys on YouTube if you're feeling adventurous, I guess, and want to watch old vlogs of me and my family. Or Facebook. It's what am I on Facebook? Daniel, I think. Daniel Canady, just my name. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything. 3 Strange Facts, though. Go follow me there.
You want to plug your crypto wallet so people can send you Doge?
Yeah. X4Y7Z DD49. Yeah. Somebody's about to get like a bunch of Doge. No.
Blessings for them then, right?
Yeah.
You're muted.
Me? No.
No,
Hey, they trying to
I was about to
silence me,
say.
man. We went deep on this one, so
Yeah,
my
it's a
mic's been
CIA.
getting.
Yeah. Like, shut this
Cut.
guy down.
Damn. All right, everyone. We're going to make our way out of the cave. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to continue the conversation, join the Discord and dive deeper into the cave, where we further discuss birds are fake and, Epstein and Kamala Harris.
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
We also have member exclusive events, tournaments, and giveaways. You can find the link on the website, cave.com, k4v3.com. Before we sign out, I want to ask you guys think that guy on Tucker Carlson's interview really had sexual intercourse with Obama?
His cook or no?
No, there was an interview with Tucker Carlson where
pretty much outed Obama, saying like I was his gay lover.
Huh.
Smoke crack with each other and had sex apparently.
I don't know. I've heard that before. I didn't see the interview, but I heard that there was that happened.
I don't know how to feel about
Look into it, man.
Yeah,
Peace out, guys.
Appreciate it, y'all.